Pants down.
It's alive.
Oh my goodness.
All right. That's what she
Hey everybody.
Got some watchers already with us, it looks like. Auburn Elvis, hello.
90 minutes and counting. I saw doing that with the Countdown Jerry voice, though. 90 minutes and counting. Tick tock, tick tock, he says. Moments away, says G.I. Joe, a real American headcast. And Auburn, I guess Auburn Elvis was just happy we came on. We're here. We're here. All right. Where's Delvin? What's Delvin doing today? No Delvin?
It was camping and then it was so I don't know. He's like camping got canceled, but
you Air Force officer. He ain't camping for S, man.
I think he had some homescapes to catch up on.
Homescapes Wednesday.
No. I actually thought he was coming today. He texted a few minutes ago. He was like, "You guys have a good show." I was like, "Oh, okay."
I was the guest, and he backed out.
Yeah. I guess.
What Jason is too much. Jasons he can't handle. That's
I'm pulling the role of Delvin. I'm capturing everybody's name in the chat because I do have giveaways for at the end.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, don't attempt to adjust your screen, ladies and gentlemen. That is not Delvin Williams there. That is as Jason Lady, singular. We got MVPs
right.
in the podcast now. It's starting to fill up.
I hope everybody's having a good Sunday.
Good. And I hope last Sunday you were good to your mothers. I called and checked on you, Jared.
Yeah.
Crap.
I did.
I even called Grandma, Jared. I'm going to tell you.
Woo! Went all in, huh?
Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, calling grandma is what we do when we lose a bet.
I mean, we love our grandma.
Does she keep you on the phone for a long time?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can't call it a conversation because it doesn't matter whether you're there or not. Like I've literally just kind of sat down the phone, made a sandwich, ate lunch, made lunch for tomorrow's work. Never, pick up the phone. Is there an awkward pause? Is she waiting for me to respond? Nope, she's still going. All right.
It's more of a monologue than a conversation, right? A soliloquy. Yeah.
Right. It's a one-woman judge that's rendering judgment on every member of the family. It's just gotta wait till she gets to me. Woo! Not guilty. Good. All right.
Forgets who she's talking to. Oh, whoops! I'm supposed to edit that out. Sorry.
Oh man. Oh, but actually, it was in all seriousness, it was a nice conversation, and had a good Mother's Day. How did you guys do? How was your Mother's Days?
Busiest day of the year for me every year. Gotta call my mom. Gotta take care of Johanna. Gotta take care of Johanna's mom. It's the ringer, man.
We survive it. And this is why we don't do the podcast on Mother's Day.
Yeah, that's why we were off a week.
Okay. I
can't do it. Just
all
can't
right.
do it.
That makes sense. Yeah. I called my mom, and we had plans with my mother-in-law who lives 2 hours away, but that didn't work out. So really just amounted to me calling my mom. Yeah, that's all it was. And we don't have any kids, so it was pretty easy. Didn't have to do anything special.
Nice.
It's the ringer day for me, man. I go through the ringer.
Did your kids call home there, Pat? Or do you have to lay down some law?
No. They came home to see Mom, but then we also had to make 3 trips to other places. So busy day.
It's a day.
Yep.
Well, we're back on the regular schedule, folks. We'll be back on second Sunday of every month after this. So let's have some fun. Let's do a show, and I guess we can go around the room and say what our current crusades are real quick.
I think we've got that in the script for this show.
Yeah.
You might as well just start.
Do? And I didn't know what that meant, actually. You might want to go first so I can get the gist of it.
Yeah, basically, we'll go around. We'll go around the horn when we get to this point, and just talk about whatever kind of cool crusade you're on. Could be a home project if you're, I don't know, painting interior. Could be. It could be, it could be what you're nerding out with, what shows you're watching, what cool movie you've recently seen. If you're reading through any books, that type comic book series, going back through your long box and like, I want to read, Further Adventures of Indiana Jones, the whole run.
Sure. Whatever. What I'm in the middle of reading right now.
I'm taking everybody's.
That's wild. It's a good guess.
All right. Well, I guess without further ado, I'll just say thank you to everybody that's here in the chat that came to hang out with us today. We're about ready to get started here in just a few seconds. So once we get rolling, please feel free to jump in with your comments, chats. We'll break intermittently between here and there and kind of read any cool chats that come in, and you'll be part of the show here. So
yeah, let us know what you're thinking.
Yeah, enjoy. So with that, I guess we can get rolling here.
All right, I'm going on mute.
All right, here we go. Take a quick pull here from my Jack and Coke. My Coke.
Are you taking a drink? I want to say hello to Max. He's watching on the Facebook.
Hey,
the
Max.
Book of Faces. He's on mute too. Max is on mute.
I've got him. I just wrote his name down. So thanks for giving him the shout out, Pat.
All right. 3, 2, 1. You're listening to the Longbox Crusade podcast, episode 35, featuring Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, number 2, cover dated May 1981. Hello and welcome to the 35th episode of the Longbox Crusade. I am your host, Jason Albrick, aka the Weasel Skull. The Longbox Crusade is a podcast where each episode, a random cover month and year is chosen, and then an issue is selected from one of the Longbox Crusade crew members' comic collection. Each episode we will summarize, review, and reminisce about the issue, ads, and events of that time period. Joining me for this episode is Jared Albrick, the yard sale artist. Jared, what's your current crusade in 10 words or less?
I never stick to the 10 words rule, but all right. I will try my 10 words rule.
You're done. Thank you, Jared. Moving on to...
All right. Bullet Train novel. Further Adventures of Indiana Jones. Collected. Fancy.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I got to take another trip over to your house and score some of those fancy hardbacks when you're not looking again.
And I was thinking, depleted.
All right. Delvin, the Dark Web Williams. What are you doing? Well, Jason, I'm glad you asked. I'm skipping out. All right. Thank you, Delvin. Pat, DJ Cristado Sampson, what is your current crusade in 10 words or less?
It's hard for me to count and talk at the same time.
Hey, you're done.
Hey, you're done.
Home improvements work.
Oh, there you go.
Painting walls.
Painting walls. Home improvement work.
Follow-up question, what color?
Primer right now, white. But then it will be like a creamish color. But we're actually putting up shiplap. So I don't know if you know what that is. Where it's boards. And it's kind of multicolor we got. So it's kind of cool pattern.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I don't know how you could ask a simple question that you could answer in one word.
I was like,
a whole
what color?
Rambling
and he was
exposition and still not get the answer to your question.
He was like primer, kind of creamish, shiplap, multicolor. Like what? I still don't know the answer.
Project
I still don't know the answer.
That's how I am.
I've got a whip wop primate.
Like what? I don't know what that means.
All right. Well, all teasing aside, we don't have Delvin today, but we have double dose of Jason. We've got Jason Lady. Jason, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for joining us. Thanks for pinch hitting. And 10 words or less. What's your current crusade?
Sure. So I have the Marvel Unlimited app. I have a subscription to that, and I'm always discovering new things on there I've never read before. And what I've been reading yesterday and a little bit today is MC2, or I think it's Marvel Comics 2, where it was like set a few years in the future. And so it has like the children of the Avengers. So there's American Dream, who's the daughter of Steve Rogers and Sharon Carter. And, there's a kid named J2, who's the son of the Juggernaut. There's a bunch of like legacy superheroes like that who are rising up to be a new generation. It's a lot of it's written by Tom DeFalco and drawn by Ron Frenz. So it's a great time. It's really old school feel, and I'm having a lot of fun reading it. And that wasn't quite 10 words. Sorry.
Spot on. It was spot on 10. I counted. I was right at 10.
All right.
You nailed it. You nailed it, Jason. Great job.
I remember the MC2 universe, though. That was like late 90s.
Yeah, Spider-Girl was the big, I think, standout.
The
from
breakout.
Who stuck around. Yeah, the rest of it didn't really, which is a shame. There's some fun concepts in there to bring some of that back.
But the thing I remember most about Spider-Girl is they were like, okay, we're going to cancel it. And then like they got a ton of letters and they're like, okay, we're not going to cancel it. And then like a year later, they're like, okay, we're canceling it. And they're like, oh, okay, we're not going to cancel it. It was always on the precipice. And the fans saved it like, I don't know, a dozen times or something.
Star Trek, the original series of it.
Right.
kept getting brought back by a popular demand.
Yeah, welcome to MC2 Cast. I'm Jared. This is my co-host, Jason Lady. Anyway, I'm going to go back.
We did Spider-Girl, didn't we? Yeah, that was Delvin's.
We did. It was one of Delvin's picks. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
It was fun, too. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was
That's
good.
another one I have to read.
Yeah,
I've never read that.
Pat, we owe you an apology. One of the listeners saved you. They know what shiplap is, so.
See,
Kathy, we'll talk later. Well,
usually you got to pay extra for that, and you go to kind of a private room.
Right.
Kathy knows what's good, what looks good. It's
sailors get it half off though.
Yeah, that's why it's called shiplap.
Oh man. Oh, Pat says thanks. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. And let's see here. Let's move on with the old script. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. And we invite all the listeners to be a part of the show by submitting your comments and memories, which will be read later on in the show. All links and pictures for this episode are in the show notes, which can be found at the website longboxcrusade.com. Please add the podcast to your favorite podcast feed or on Apple Podcasts. You can also follow the podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Longbox Crusade. We hope you come along with us on this crusade to read them all. Now, before we get started with the episode issue review, let's take a quick podcast promo break, and we will be right back. All right. And let's see here.
Let's see who else we got in the chats.
Let's see who we got.
According to my list, we've got Armin Elvis, Aaron Moss, Kathy, Max Traver, and Michelle Moss.
Yeah.
Kathy with the backup. Yep. So it looks like we got some the MC2 Spider-Girl comics seems to be popular.
There's some fans out there.
Yeah, like what we said Delvin brought to Crusademus one year, and that was was it Crusademus or did he bring it to a show? Yes, Crusademus.
Is it this year? Is it? No, it's not this year. We haven't done ours for this year yet. It was last year.
It was last year.
Yeah, when I say this year, I mean 2020.
No, I was honestly thinking was that one we've already recorded but haven't released, but we haven't got to us yet.
The last 3 years really run together, honestly. So.
The last 5.
It does. It really does. All right. Let's move along here. Welcome back from the break. Today's adventure from the Longbox is Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis #2, cover dated May 1991. Credits for this issue are provided by Mike's Amazing World of Comics website. Publisher was Dark Horse. Cover date May 1991. On sale date was May 28th, 1991. Cover price was $250. Editor was Mike Richardson. Writer William Mesner-Lebs. Writer penciler Dan Barry. Inker Carl Kessel. Letterer Gail Beckett. And colorist Laureen Haynes. Cover credits go to a little-known artist called Dave Dorman, and these covers are fantastic. Oh, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Before we do that, I should probably turn it over to a cover description by Jared.
I've got you covered. That joke before
cover me, Jared.
In my life. Okay, let's talk about this gorgeous Dave Dorman cover. It is quite simple. It has a sort of fire and ice theme, if you will. It's got a bold blue background as Indy dangles on a rope over some fire, molten lava, maybe molten something. Ooh, who knows? But the Indiana Jones font is yellow with black highlights, as is Fate of Atlantis, which goes nicely per the color wheel with blue, by the way. Stands out well. And again, Dave Dorman has painted this beautiful, beautiful moment of Indy dangling in danger with fire below, ice behind. And if you look really carefully, which I had to because I didn't notice it the first time because I read it digitally, there's a frozen body in the ice behind Indy, which is actually a plot point in the story. It's, guys, it's painted, it's Dorman. I've had the great pleasure of meeting Mr. Dorman a couple of times, and this cat is so talented it hurts. It's a wonderful cover. If you're listening to the podcast version, you're not watching with us because we have it on the screen right now. If you listen to the podcast version, go look at it. Just go Google Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis #2. Give a look at that Dave Dorman goodness.
Yeah, we got some folks in here commenting on it. Beautiful cover, says G.I. Joe, a real American headcast, and I can't agree more. Now, on to the synopsis. The title is The Fate of Atlantis Part 2. After getting ambushed and shot in the shoulder by a bunch of undercover Nazis, Indy decides to embark upon an expedition with his former colleague, Sophie Hapgood, to search for the lost city of Atlantis. If for no other reason than to warn his fellow archaeologists who served on the expedition, Indy and Sophie journey to Iceland, the Azores, and the ruins of an ancient Mayan civilization in the Yucatan, discovering clues and artifacts along the way. Following yet another clue to Leningrad, Indy and Sophie are beset upon by the evil Nazi Colonel Kerner and his men. Our heroes manage to fight their way free, but lose the artifacts in their possession. The last clue, however, ironically points to an object stored right under Indiana Jones's nose at Barnett College. So we're going to go around the room, and again, anybody that wants to chime in, please feel free to answer these questions in the chat. Question number one, and I'm going to give it to our guest Jason Lady here, is what do you think about the story?
About kind of the genesis of the series.
You got to start over because you were on mute.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. I muted you. You were making too much noise during Jason's talk.
Oh, sorry about that.
So,
yeah, I have a bad habit.
That's strike one. That's strike one.
I just blurt stuff out. Yeah.
No, it's all right. It's my bad. Please start. This is how the sausage is made, folks. Please start over. I'm sorry. I had you on mute.
That's okay. So I read the backstory of this series and how it was adapted from a video game, and kind of the crux of it was them trying to think of a story, the creators trying to think of a story where Indy's on a quest with an object that's worthy of Indiana Jones. It's like on the same scale as the Lost Ark. It's on the same scale as the Holy Grail. And, I think they nailed that, trying to find the location and the secrets of Atlantis, great job. That's a great pick. So I think as far as like the quest and kind of what Indy is after, great stuff. That's a really intriguing mystery, and it's worthy of Indiana Jones's pedigree, shall we say, as a adventurer. I like how the story mirrors kind of the globe-trotting adventure feel that you'd get from the movies, including the map with the dotted lines where the airplane is going, location to location. I love that they put that in there. I thought that was a really cool touch. I think as far as supporting characters, I like Sophie. I think she's a good partner for Indy. She's kind of in the mold of Marion Ravenwood, where she's just sassy and she's feisty and she's tough. She has that kind of weird, kind of spiritual side to her that Indy's, kind of leery of. But I like their banter back and forth, her and Indy. At one point, she calls him a clod. She makes fun of his hat. At one point, she asks him if he's antisocial, and he says, only around you. So this is a good, snappy kind of pulp adventure dialogue. Another thing I liked about it in terms of a side character is the use of Marcus Brody. I've always thought that in The Last Crusade, they made him a little too much of a goofball and kind of the comic relief. And I thought that was really unfortunate. If you look at him in Raiders, you can kind of see a guy who maybe was an adventurer like Indiana Jones when he was younger, and now is kind of in more of an administrative role, but was still someone to be taken seriously. And I like that this story didn't really make him into a goofball or a clown or comic relief. He was a very serious, kind of solid sidekick to Indy. And his dialogue, I could hear the actor, Denholm Elliott, rest in peace. I can hear him saying those lines. So I thought that was really well done. But good pulp adventure stuff. The seaplane, the escape from the geothermal vent, the secret tomb with the weird skeleton and the alligator pit, Nazi secret agents dogging their every step. I mean, this is all good stuff. This is all right in the Indiana Jones mold. So just to kind of wrap up a little bit, two things. I would say, one, it got a little confusing at some points. So all these names being thrown around, like Thor's called and Steinhardt and Hector Uribe. I was kind of losing track of who was who and how it all connected a little bit, the thread of it. And then there's a great fight at the end. And maybe once we look at the artwork, we might bring up that panel. But there's a really good fight at the end where they just totally beat up the Nazi agents that I really enjoyed, that everybody gets a lick in. So those are my thoughts on the story. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. I think an Indiana Jones adaptation is tough because you don't have the John Williams music, you don't have the stunt work, you don't have the Steven Spielberg, direction going for you. But I thought this was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
All right, so we got some folks in the chat that are agreeing with you. Particularly, Max really liked the dotted line map as well. Let's pass it over to Pat and see if there's anything that he wants to add.
Well, again, having brought this for Crusademas, issue number 1, like I think a few years back it was, when I brought the issue number 1 back. I'm a homer for Indiana Jones, so I was all in on this one, especially having, there it is. Again, look at that cover too. Let's talk about the cover on this one. Just another beautiful cover on this one that I really enjoyed. And Elvis had mentioned that it kind of looked distressed, and I think he's right. Getting that look on that cover again, the distressedness of it made it, it's made it look like an Indiana Jones, used up and sitting around, rolled up and just kind of hanging out, all dusty look to that cover. And just, it took, like Jared said too, it took me a little bit to look at that cover and go, oh wait, there's a frozen guy in there, just kind of holding that the idol or the thing that they were looking for in his hands like that. I thought it was really neat to see. Going back to the story, beyond issue number 1, that was really set up for that one. For this issue number 2, lots of action in this one, lots of globe trotting around. It's basically had all of your Indiana Jones tropes and things you want to see happening in here. And I think this would be one that I would have liked to see turned into like a little mini series, or, I want to say a movie, but it could on its own probably stand out to be that way. But even just like a little series would have been kind of neat to see. Having played the computer game that this is based off of, the wrong side, you can see it over here. Still have it from the game that it was all based off of.
That's some dope box art. I like that.
I know. This is that's why you got to keep this stuff. It's really cool. So it was really cool to see that turned into a comic book at the same time for the hype of the game and all that. So really enjoyed it. Can't say much more about it.
All right. Thanks, Pat. Yeah, just for folks to know, Pat did bring this to Crusade Miss a couple of years back, and that's really what I happened to be at the comic book store and saw that they had the complete series, and I was like, hey, I really like that issue 1, so let me bring up these buy up this series. And when it came my turn to pick a comic, I said, let's continue reading The Fate of Atlantis. So that's what brings us here today. All right, but we still got to listen to Jared's input. Jared, we've heard tales about how we like the tropes, the journey going from location to location to location. We've heard got a little bit confusing with all the characters and locations. I agree with that one 100%. Anything to add from your perspective?
Just a little, actually. Most everything's been covered, but yeah, just a concurrence on all those things. Like, it got to the point where I just kind of stopped caring about the names. I was just like, whatever, just gonna watch Indy go through the motions. The only thing that kind of bugged me is, and I even went back to look to see if this story had been given a year, like it takes place in X year, because it bugs me that, like, she'll talk about sort of fantastical or spiritual elements, and he'll be like poppycock, and I'm like, you've seen a guy take another guy's heart out, and the guy with the heart out healed right up and was still alive while his heart was like, seriously. All this other stuff is poppycock to you, Indy? Like, you've seen something.
Yeah, he's seen the Ark of the Covenant. He's seen
the Holy Grail healed his dad.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's like, yeah. Come on, man. It's
you've seen weirder.
Yeah,
just leave it at.
That's kind of an Indy trope that he maintains that skepticism no matter what. It's like, come on, man.
It kind of becomes a Harrison Ford trope in a way, because I had the same kind of complaint about, well, it's because they expanded the universe. But remember the original Star Wars, he was like, Force, whatever. But then, like, they've added prequels, and then Indy's backstory, like, you've seen all this stuff before, like, and all of a sudden in 1977's version, he's like, what a bunch of poppycock all this is, and it's so it's a Harrison Ford trope to me at this point. But I mean, that is the most minor of nitpicks. It's a breezy adventure. It's fun to I like just watching them go from point A's to point B's using the conveyances of the time. And one thing I'm struggling with, by the way, is I am reading the Further Adventures Marvel at the same time as this, so I'm conflating some of it in my head. Sure. The two stories are blending, but I just thought it was neat. They obviously put a lot of care into being accurate with how people got around in the time frame, so I thought that was neat. I like the conveyances. Delvin probably never saw him. That's his whole thing. But aside from that, I agree with everybody else. Good breezy, fun story.
So it sounds like overall we're all pretty much in agreement. Story's pretty solid. Lots of the Indiana Jones tropes that we want to see packed into this issue. Maybe a little too much, but let's talk about the art a little bit. What do we think of the art? That's the other main ingredient that goes into a comic book. And Jason, we'll start it off with you again. What are your thoughts?
Sure. So some of the notes I had here about the art, I had to look up who Dan Barry was. I wasn't familiar with his work, but once I read about him, the history this guy has and all the stuff that he's worked on is pretty incredible. A longtime Flash Gordon comic strip artist, I believe. So once I read that about him after reading the comic, I was like, okay, that all kind of fits. And I see why they picked him to do this, because it's kind of like cliffhanger serial adventure style, this guy has down. He did the fashions, the cars, the planes, the look of the tomb, and the temple that the tomb is in, were all really well done. Those seem like very true to the time period. I didn't go and look, but I'm assuming that they are. They definitely look like they fit in. There's nothing anachronistic that jumped out at me or anything like that. I love the depiction of the tomb when Indy and Sophie are walking into it, and Indy has a torch and it's just lit by torchlight, and you can see all the carvings drawings on the walls, and the shadows. It just looked really eerie and really cool. You can kind of hear that John Williams music, like when they're going to the Well of the Souls, just kind of menacing and mysterious. So I thought that was pretty cool. The artwork veered into cartoony territory a little bit a few times. Some of the body poses and facial expressions did. And that threw me a little bit because I kind of expect something a little more realistic with the Indiana Jones world. And there were a couple examples in there where I was like, that seems a little more, I don't know, something you'd see in something more cartoony than this. And at first I was a little thrown off by Indy not looking a whole lot like Harrison Ford for a lot of it. But then I thought about like the old Marvel Star Wars comic and how I think it was Al Williamson was really the only one who did a flat on, this looks like Harrison Ford, because he only did limited installments. I think he did like 6 issues of Empire Strikes Back adaptation, for example, and that was it. I think it could be really tough to do comic after comic after comic and have the actor, have the characters you're drawing look like the actors and actresses. So I'm willing to give that a pass because none of the other Star Wars Marvel Comics artists really were able to do that either. But it did throw me a little bit. I was like, does it really look like Harrison Ford a couple times? But after a while I got into it and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think too, we talked about that the last time, was the likeness of Indy was probably, as Albert and Elvis mentioned in the chat, that it could be a licensing issue, but you can definitely tell. I'm going back to that sweet cover on the Dorman cover. It really looks like Harrison Ford on that cover.
Yeah, my instinct, having done a little work behind the scenes, wink, wink, is that they probably got likeness rights from Harrison Ford's people for covers.
Yeah.
And probably not for interiors. Kind of like we talked about with the Marvels.
Yeah.
I don't think they had his likeness rights for those, and that's why he's always, generic. But yeah, I think it's a likeness rights issue more so than an artist issue. That's my suspicion.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you're right about the cover. I was like, clearly there's a photo reference going on for some of those indie covers that I've seen, because I could remember the photo that's maybe copied or painted from, based on. And so I kind of wondered if the cover was him being lowered into the Well of the Souls.
We're just thinking that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I suspect you're right. Yeah.
And again, if you have time to sit and, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, as I looked at all 4 covers, I think they're obviously photo referenced from the movies. Issue 1 is from Temple of Doom. 2 is the Well of the Souls. I think there's the one that was from the Raiders scene from the market where he's holding the pistol up. They're all photo referenced. I think this one, I was really impressed by it though, because they managed to take that photo reference and still, with the body frozen in the ice and the cover and the colors and having the geothermal thing, they still managed to tie it into what actually happens in the comic, which I thought was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I would agree. They adapted it.
Anyway, Pat, why don't you continue on and expand upon your thoughts on the art in the book?
It's interesting that Jason brought up that it was a Flash Gordon artist before. So now when I look at this, I can picture that kind of timely serialized art that's going on here. And along with the colors, I think really looked nice. They really spent some time and detail on this as well. And with the inker as well, you have Carl Kissel doing the inks on this. Man, it looks amazing. Just the backgrounds on this, because of the areas that they go to. I think there's like 3 different locations or more, 3 or 4 different, I want to say worlder, but just different locations that they're in is amazing. And then when they get into the the tomb or area like that, and just the skeletons, and when they open up that and see the skeleton guy there, oh man, that's a lot of ink work, don't you think, Jared?
Definitely, yeah. It's like you said, Carl's the master, so it's very crisp in this.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed this one, and just brings me back to that whimsical, fun kind of just breezy light read. I thought I was gonna read some of it last night and then read the rest of it today, but I got further into this book because I was just so intrigued and just the artwork just helps move it along, and you can just feel the Indiana Jones-ness in this, you know, I guess is the way to say it. It's like watching them build the story art, you know, how they would film the movies with the story through the artwork that they use. You know, I'm a sucker for like Star Wars and Indiana Jones, when you could buy the VHS tape of how it was made, and, you know, big hour back, and they would show you the script, somewhat of the script and the story, and how they would then take that and turn it into, you know, what's on the film. Man, just
the storyboard process. You mean?
Yeah, the storyboard process through the artist and all that. Just to see this is like, man, I wish they would make this into a movie, or even just a cartoon with, you know, getting Harrison to do his voice or someone close to it would be really cool.
Yeah, Auburn Elvis says, I bet the New York shot highlight the Empire State Building, because that's back when it was the tallest building there. But I think that goes a lot to what we were saying, what you folks have been saying. That's great, great action sequences by the artist, but also just tremendous backgrounds, you know, tremendous backgrounds and colors, and it's got a pretty good blend. But let's see what Jared has to say. Jared, why don't you wrap us up here as we talk about art?
All right, I'm going to start with a fun fact about the Empire State Building. In the movie King Kong by Peter Jackson, the digital crew, to get it to look so right and timepiecey and all that from the digital build, took them 18 months to build and design the Empire State Building to make that movie. And in real life, it was built in 15 months. So it was literally built faster in real life than it was digitally for the King Kong movie. I love that factoid. I just wanted everybody else to know that too.
I love knowing that.
I did not know that. No, that's awesome.
So when I came across that one, I was like, that's pretty funny. Anyway, and I was kind of being alluded to it before when we were talking licensing issues, but I just kind of want to be clear, like, you know, I did some Marvel cards, you know, the trading cards for Upper Deck, and we would get notes like, hey, we need an Iron Man, and it would actually say in there, if you have him helmet off, he cannot look like Robert Downey Jr. type of deal, because it's all that kind of licensing thing. So I just kind of want to be specific instead of vague. So that's kind of how it works. So we would get notes like that. Hey, do a Hawkeye, but he can't look like Jeremy Renner, right? So I think that's what's going on here. But this art, and I'm really glad Jason did the background on the artist to find out he was a comic strip artist from the Flash Gordons, because I was loving this art. I love this art so much. I texted my brother, the Weasel Skull, like a few days ago. I was reading. I was like, this art is just, it's awesome. It's just dope. It is amazing. And I couldn't quite put my finger on why, but Jason Lady brought the great factoids there, which really gave me the perspective, because I'm like, okay, so if he's doing Flash Gordon art, that's what I clicked. It's got an old school feel. It's got a 40s, 50s feel. And Indiana Jones is a 40s, 50s character. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is why I'm feeling it. It's that perfect mesh of that art style. And it's one of its best forms. I mean, it's so, like Pat was saying, it's so intricate and crisp and clear and clean. And Jason is correct. It does get into the comical realms at some point, but I'll give it that budge because it is 40s, 50s. And again, we have a 40s, 50s character. So I just thought it was just a real good mesh of artist with storyline when it takes place. So I can't say enough about the art in this. When I looked at it, I was in awe of it. It is it's very high ranking for me.
All right. Well, I think we've gone around the horn and talked about the art. Overall, I think very positive. We all liked it. Jared, I believe the next segment is yours.
Yes, indeed. So if we went to a comic convention and Mr. Dan Barry was there with all of his original artwork for this book, and you could have just but one page of it, what is your favorite page of art from this book? I see folks flipping through it feverishly, trying to figure it out. The only one who looks confident is Mr. Jason Lady. Jason, what are you going with?
I did some prep work before I came to see you guys today.
It's funny. I'm making fun of them because they're flipping their copies. I have it digitally, so I'm scrolling like a madman off to the right. Right. But I've already figured out I have my primary, and then I have a secondary in case everybody picks my primary. So go ahead, Jason.
All right. Well, it's a little bit of a cheat because I mentioned it earlier, but the page, and not even so much even the rest of the page, but that big panel where it's kind of the semi-silhouetted forms of Indy and Sophie and the other guy whose name escapes me are walking into the tomb. They've discovered the tomb. They've managed to figure out how to open up the door, and they're just like this, like, whoa, looking around. But you're seeing them from the back. It's all lit by the single torch that Indy is holding. You're seeing the light and the shadow play off all the weird old carvings. Thank you, Pat. Yep, that's the one right there. That is a beautiful piece of artwork. I think black and white or colored, it would probably work. And to have that and to be able to put that in a nice frame somewhere, in my home, that would be very cool. So that's what I would pick right there. And that's a quintessential Indiana Jones adventure image right there.
Love it. Love it. Let's keep going around the horn and take it to Pat DJ Christados.
Okay. Well, I am going to go with the page... 2 pages after that, where they're kind of in the same area, and it's them looking into the creepy skeleton guy with the horns, and then the tomb opens up and it starts to move, and then they fall down into the pit where the alligators are. You can see them falling down there. Hopefully Indy's gonna help break the fall for Sophie there. So
I can't help but notice that he probably would have made the jump to that ledge if she hadn't been on his back.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they got through that with no broken bones, but that's of the genre. Stone floor, bam. Yeah.
They said, well, it wasn't that far of a fall, so
yeah, they did.
I'll give them that, but still, that's still got to be kind of scary, where the floor moves away from you and you're left holding it.
Before I pass it to Jason, Max Traver said something over on Facebook. He said set pieces are key for adventure stories, so that can pull those off is essential. And I can't agree more. With an Indiana Jones story, just getting the environment right is so key. So great comment from Max. I wanted to point that out.
Especially, like you said, in this kind of an adventure, the set pieces and all that, it's a character in itself.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
And we'll pass it to Jason. What page are you going to take?
I'm going to be unoriginal and take the same page that Pat chose, page 19. I think it really just encapsulates everything that's really cool about an Indiana Jones adventure. One of the things I really like about it is that silhouette. There's a panel in there where they're just silhouetted, and just seeing the silhouette of Indy in the hat. Seeing the mysterious, creepy little skeleton dude, and then that last panel where they're just falling into the unknown, into the dark unknown. To me, that sums up everything that's great about an Indiana Jones cliffhanger in that one page. So I'm gonna mimic Pat on this one.
I will bring it home, Pat, if you will be my visual guy as you've been.
You bet.
First, I want to give you my. I'm going to pull a Pat here. I'm going to give two, actually. My honorable mention is going to be when they arrive in, I want to say it's South America. They're on horseback. I think it's page 15-ish. They're on horseback.
Oh, yeah. That's
looking
a good one,
down, like
at
the architectural drawing. Yeah, that's the one, Pat. The architectural drawings of the buildings, the ruins is probably the better word. Plus, well-drawn horses, well-drawn people. That's my honorable mention. My number one, though, is going to be the last page where Indy whips a guy in the face.
That guy's got a scar. He does.
If I'm going to take one page out of an Indy adventure, I want to see somebody getting hit with a whip, right? So it's really the top panel that's killer. Pat's got it on screen there. Indy's been knocked down. He's whipping from the hip, basically. He's laying on the ground, whipping a guy in the face with a machine gun. Like, if I'm going to have an Indy page, I'm going to need some Indy action. So
can't go wrong with a good whip to the face.
Whip to the face is always good. And just because I did the work ahead of time, there's a panel in the book, and Pat, you don't need to do this one because I already brought in an overlay, but it's the one where he gets blown out of the geyser. I've put it on screen right now, which I like to title After Taco Bell. That's what I. If you put that lens on it, it takes a whole new meaning.
That's gonna be me after they bring back that Mexican pizza, man.
For those of you podcasts that aren't here, he's being blown out of a geyser by a yellowish brownish liquid. He's about 6 feet. Well, no, he's more like 12 feet in the air.
We've all been there, Indy. We've all been there.
We've all been there. Oh man.
Yeah, Max just found my the title to my memoirs, Whip to the Face, a memoir by Jason Albrecht, Bear Fighter. Very good.
I love it.
Well, like Devo said, when a problem comes along,
you must
whip
it.
So I am surprised there's 4 of us here, and we 3 different page, and I threw in an honorable mention and some silliness, but that just kind of shows you that it's kind of spread out in this book. The good art is found throughout. So thank you for letting me run my mouth, Jason.
Yeah, no, I was flipping through there because I got to thinking, I don't remember seeing like one big splash page that we all gravitate to. And to your point, there's a lot of panels in this book, but each panel is just carefully curated and looks really good in my humble opinion. But anyway, thank you for taking on that portion of the show, Jared. And now we're going to take a walk down memory lane. Memories at the corner of my mind, misty colored memories.
You don't even have to do any effects work, Pat. Jason's killing it.
It's smooth, man. It's so smooth.
So, Jason Lady, any memories that this comic brings up in your mind?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was published in 1991. I did not have this particular indie comic. I had others. I had the Iron Phoenix. I had the Spear of Destiny. I had some other indie comic books. I also collected the indie novel series by Rob McGregor, if you guys remember those. It was a time where Indiana Jones was everywhere. It was like The Last Crusade hit in 1991. That movie came out, and suddenly there was just Indiana Jones all over media. You had the comic books, you had the novels, and you had the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, I think, starting not too long after that. The video games, it was everywhere at that point. And I was going from 8th grade to 9th grade at that point. I loved Indiana Jones. The Last Crusade was the first movie that I saw, the first Indiana Jones movie that I saw in the movie theaters. I was a little too young for the others when they came out. So I saw them out of order. I saw Last Crusade, then I saw the other ones after that. But I have special memories of seeing Last Crusade in the theater with my dad. And the fact that it was about a father-son relationship just made that movie very special to us. But to kind of go a little more broad, it's a memory of a time where, I mentioned I was in 8th, 9th grade. I had this great group of friends at that point where we just watched movies together and ate junk food, and just like we could all walk to each other's houses. We lived close enough to do that. So we just kind of stayed the night at each other's houses, played Nintendo. It was just a great time. And I remember watching those movies with those guys as well as other friends I had later. Indiana Jones has always been, a big series for me and some of my favorite movies of all time. So when you asked me to do this, I was like, heck yeah, I'll read an indie comic I've never read before. I will also point out, too, that 1991, and I guess I mentioned Last Crusade came out in 1991. That came out 2 years previously in 1989. I was misremembering that. But what did come out in 1991 was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and Terminator 2. Those movies were huge. And so just thinking back to that time where we're watching those movies in the theaters, the marketing for both of them, Bryan Adams is, singing on the radio, everything I do it for you. There's just a good feeling of nostalgia from that time for me. And 1 year later, my family would move to Germany. My dad was in the Army, and he got stationed there one more time there. So I did the rest of my high school years over there. But yeah, it just really captures a particular time at Fort Knox, Kentucky with some particular group of friends. So Larry, Richard, Tyrone, John, if you're out there, hey guys, how are you doing? Good times.
Search your heart, search your soul.
You find me there, you search no more. We're gonna get flagged on YouTube.
Yeah. You guys sing it too good.
They'll get taken down by Bryan Adams people. Yeah,
right. Bryan Adams contends he's gonna come after us.
Yeah. Well, it's true.
I hate you.
Hey, I know we're in the middle of memory lane here, but Auburn Elvis did bring up a good point that I meant to mention.
I saw it too.
Yeah. Oh, Marcus. Jackpot for Marcus.
He found himself a Latina lady who was into him.
Yeah.
He got sweaty.
He's all nervous.
A little nervous.
And you can definitely see the actor, portraying that.
Oh, totally.
Like,
yeah. I mean, he's like portraying this really stiff upper lip British guy, really kind of uptight, and to be kind of put in that situation, you could just see him, getting a lot out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me on that, Auburn Elvis. That was funny. That
was
part
very funny.
Had me laughing. Anyway,
Marcus love interest, yeah, good for him.
Get back on the rails of memory lane here. Pat, give me some sweet memories of this time.
Oh boy, 1991. This came out in May, which means later on, within less than a month's time, I'm graduating high school. And as we talked before, well, like Jason Lady said, that this Indiana Jones brings back memories, especially like him. I remember going to see back in '89 Last Crusade with my dad. Didn't have friends weren't available to go, and I really wanted to go, and my dad really saw that I wanted to go, so he made the effort to come and take me to that movie. And it being a father and son movie, every time I think about it, it's a special moment for me and my dad. But this being 1991, starting to get these books, as Jason mentioned, the novels that are out there. This game in particular was out, and I was playing it. And can you imagine? Let me just give you what you needed to play this game in 1991.
You better have at least 32 megs of RAM.
Well, you needed it's a 386 processor,
which everyone's phone is a better processor than that these days.
Everybody's phone is way better than that. 640K, just for 640K of RAM required.
Again, the phone you threw out before you bought your last phone had more than that.
Way more than
that.
And a CD-ROM, so you could get the voice.
Your phone doesn't have that. Your phone doesn't have a CD-ROM.
Yeah, but now you got audio tracks on that. But
does it really?
Yeah.
You can't download an app? No.
It's cool. So it's just playing those games and the other Indiana Jones games really brought back a fun time memories for him. And you made me want to pull out some of these games again, Jason. And I want to play these. Like I have the Last Crusade one, Infernal Machine. I even have like a desktop one up there where you play it on a little desktop. Remember you had like desktop computer, you could play a little mini game on your little computer. So tons of fun on this one. Tons of fun.
They really need to make a modern like Indiana Jones game. Bring that back.
I think the last one they made was like on Xbox One. I played
the
it.
Emperor, yeah.
Emperor's something.
Yep.
Tomb? Emperor's Tomb?
Something like that.
Emperors of Jade. Emperor. I don't remember, but I beat it. And Jason's right. I think that was the last time they made one.
I didn't know it had been that long.
It's like the Legos.
Yeah, I got the Lego ones, but as far as like an original story, like with the success of the Tomb Raider franchise, it's like, okay, just make it Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that's what the machine was like.
You got 15 million Tomb Raider games out there.
Or what's the other one? Drake.
Fortune something.
What the heck are those games called?
Uncharted
games. So those are essentially Indiana Jones games. Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting down. We're getting away from the memories. Let's get back on track with memories. Jared, I know you got some memories in 1991 and/or Indiana Jones.
Oh, I do. It's funny how Jason Lady is departing for Germany. We are returning from, and so we're at the comic book shop in North Carolina. And I think I remember these coming across, but this was Dark Horse and it was licensed, so it was like the cover price. You read it earlier, Jason. It was like $250 or something. $250. I mean, how dare you?
I know. What do I look like? Daddy Warbucks over here? I can't afford this
right?
comic.
Marvel comics at the time, for comparison, folks, their cover price was usually $1. So you know what? Instead of taking that memory, I'm going to take a more recent memory going back about 5 years. I was going to a convention in Florida. Dave Dorman was the headliner. The convention sent me a little floor plan, and my table was going to be right next to Dave Dorman's. I thought, oh, that's really cool. I get next to Dave Dorman, get to meet him, get to know him. And so I was looking at some of his art, and my son, who was about 11 at the time, he was like, oh, that's really cool. And then my wife took a trip to Colorado, to Denver for work. While she was there, she's like, I got to go by the Mile High Comics, because that's the thing you do when you get there. And so she went there, and she actually hunted down this series of comics to buy for Jordan to take to the show to get signed by Dave Dorman. And Dave was very nice and spent a lot of time with 10 or 11-year-old Jordan, signing his books and just being super nice to him. So I just wanted to turn this memory moment into a shout out to the kindness of Mr. Dave Dorman, and what a nice memory that we have from that.
That's very cool.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, I guess my memory would just be of Indiana Jones in general. Indiana Jones is one of those characters up there with James Bond and the Star Wars crew that's just been with me since my childhood. And it doesn't really matter that if you look at the toys and the amount of toys and video games and compare what Indiana Jones has had to what Star Wars has had, they roughly came out around the same time. I mean, it's not even close. Like Star Wars from a media perspective just blows it away. Yet somehow Indiana Jones still survives. He still hangs on. And every time he comes back in the theater, we all roll out to go see him. So, and whenever I see an Indiana Jones comic book, it's a must-have. Got to get it. It's just something that's ingrained within me. I remember when, as a kid, even Jared and I used to play this game where I had a seashell, like jewelry box. I don't even know.
I remember it. Yeah.
I don't even remember.
Red lining.
Red line seashell memory box. And then I had some fake gold coins. So this was always the treasure that we would hide from one another.
Were they chocolate?
No,
we would hate them.
Like chocolate coins.
Just be a bunch of gold wrappers.
Yeah, wrappers.
In there, if that were the case. And so we would go and hide these things and pretend like we were Indiana Jones and like leave clues and stuff to go find it. And it was even ridiculous. I'd even put like talcum powder inside of it, so like when you closed it or open it, there'd be like the old dust like
would come out. I remember that.
Come out. It was just stupid. It was ridiculous, but that was the effect that Indiana Jones has on us. And I think even now, like whenever Jared and I get together, we inevitably go geocaching somewhere. And I think that's that spirit of Indiana Jones, finding that lost treasure, just ingrained within us. So when I read these books, it's what it just brought me back to that childhood. And
all right, I have an addendum, Jason. Not only did we do all that, but Jason actually, I think we did this together because I remember being part of it. Jason had like the storybook. Remember how you get the Indiana Jones storybook? And this one was specifically, I want to say, for Temple of Doom. So you could read the story, but it was, it was mostly pictures. But Jason we went through together and made our own audiobook where Jason read it and we would add sound effects. Cause I can remember like when they're pouring the drink that has the poison in it, I remember pouring water from one cup to another so that the audio would pick that up. and we had all these things laid out because we knew, okay, we're going to need this sound. And so I'm like doing sound effects while Jason's reading the story. So we had our own sound effect audiobook for Indiana Jones.
Yep. I remember, because I also remember we got in trouble because we were trying to do the whip sound and we realized we could go to the tub and we fill up a glass of water. And if you like whip that water into the tub, the splash kind of makes it sound like a whip, sound. Like a squish, and so that's what we were doing. And I don't remember which of us did it.
It was me. It was me.
That is amazing.
David said,
like before I did that thing, and he lost his grip on the glass, and it hit that tub, and everything shattered. There was like, it's like you know how it is when your parents, you hear the background noise and then it's like dead silence. Like, oh yes, they heard it.
Footstep.
Then comes the question: why were you doing this?
Oh, Jared looks at me, goes, "Well, at least tell me you got it."
It's funny because the line was, "You'll know it's time to turn the page when you hear the whip crack like this." Anybody who listens to the audiobook remember that, and that's what I said right before I whipped it, and it broke. And I looked at Jason, I went, "Well, it cracked all right." And so now Jason's laughing at my joke when my mom busts in. So it's the worst possible scenario. Broken glass. Jason's laughing. I'm like, Oh man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Boy, that is bringing up some memories.
That's funny.
That is amazing.
Auburn Elvis has been listening to our old podcast. We've told a short version of that story before, so he's in the chat saying we basically filled in the holes of that story for him because we did mention that in an old podcast, but we didn't go into as much detail.
No, because I had bought a book or got a book from the library there's like how to make different sound effects with just things around the house. So I thought we did a pretty good job.
All you need is some material and a willing young brother to do what you want him to do. And
the final product was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
I thought so. It was quality.
And it's probably how the guys at Skywalker Sound got their start, right? Doing things like that. Bert and all those guys. Yeah.
Probably. Oh, I think this is a good point to hang up this part of the show. Memories. That brings us to the end of this part of the show. Got a comment or question? Send us an email at contact@longboxcrusade.com or make a comment on the Longbox Crusade Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram page. You can also call us and leave a voicemail. Auburn Elvis, a little discipline, please.
We're going to call it the Auburn Elvis voicemail line.
Yeah, other people want to play too, Auburn Elvis. And Rick Heineken, if you're listening. I'll do that part again. You can call us and leave a voicemail that we just might play on the show. Leave us a message at 707-532-5269. That's 707-532-L-BOX. Boys,
pick up the phone.
We'll be right back. All right. Let's
No regrets.
No regrets.
He says Albert Elvis doesn't know he's currently in a competition with Rick Heineken to use the line the most.
We do appreciate it.
We do. Hey, if you plugged in and you care about what we're doing, we love it.
Kathy says that she feels bad for whoever has to edit this episode.
Yeah, that's me. That's me. I'm so used to it. You know what? 34 episodes, and
there's a lot of gold in here, though. As long as there's gold.
I think we're killing poor Pat because the Chronicles episode came out this week, and at the front of it, we're talking about how we recorded. It's the first recording of the year. I'm like, we recorded this in January. It's mid-May. What have we done to Pat?
we're so behind on record, but I mean that's just podcast life. There it is. That's how we do. It's good to have that. You know,
we do record these well in advance of release, Pat. It says it in every show.
So if we missed you. No worries.
No worries.
I think I saw Chola pop in here too. So
I did. I captured her and Courtney. Both showed up.
Oh, Courtney's here too. Okay, great.
Get your peoples in there. But we do appreciate if you got a chance, go ahead, leave us a voicemail. We're starting to put them into episodes.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see it. So anytime you hear "pick up the phone," we'll probably put something in there.
I heard one on the last Chronicles.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's get back into it here. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back from the break. Let's continue with the show. Now it's time to scan through the featured issue of Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, number 2, for the... do that again. Now it's time to scan through the featured issue of Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, number 2, for the top ads that stood out to us in a segment called Added Up. All right, not a whole lot of actual ads here, fellas, but mostly house ads, exclusively house ads. It looks like, and essentially we've got just a few choices. Number one is we got Badlands, the Dark Horse miniseries Badlands. Dark Horse does San Diego. An ad for the comic Concrete. An ad for the comic Race of Scorpions. Eddie Current, ad for the comic Terminator, and then a couple cards and other little things in there. So we'll go around the horn here, and we'll start off with Jason Lady. Which ad is your favorite?
I probably gave this away earlier, but my favorite ad is the Terminator. I love the Terminator movies. I was totally into T2 when that came out. The sequels have been a mixed bag to me, but I love those first two. And this particular ad brings back memories of a time when Dark Horse was just pumping out those series that was like Terminator versus RoboCop, Alien versus Predator, RoboCop versus Terminator versus Alien. Like, there was just a ton of them, and it was kind of the equivalent of, yes, thank you, Pat, for holding that up. Cool picture. And it was kind of the equivalent of like all the arguments at the lunch table with me and the guys, like, you know, who would win in a fight between Terminator and RoboCop, you know? And so Dark Horse was kind of like, we're going to show you. We're going to settle this argument for you. Batman versus Predator. That was another one. That was a really good one. So yeah, I'd say that's my favorite ad. Definitely eye-catching. Got the double-barreled gun coming at you, the red eyes of the Terminator staring you down, and just the fact it's Terminator. Hey, I gotta go with it. I have no choice.
And art by Paul Gulacy of Master of Kung Fu fame. So that's not too shabby.
Nice. So we got a vote for the Terminator. Pat, what about you? Which is your favorite ad?
I did like the Terminator one. But what I found interesting is the Race of Scorpions.
Here I am. Rock you like a hurricane.
Are you ready,
I don't know what he says there, but
no one knows. Not even him.
Oh, okay. I'll just say you grab mine. I've never heard of this.
I never heard
before,
of it either.
But the premise looked really cool, and that picture just kind of looked baller.
Great art style, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it. You know me, sword, sorcery, you know, D&D kind of stuff that kind of just jumped out to me on that. So, yep. Thank you.
Is there art credit on that, Pat?
I don't know. Let me look.
It kind of looks like Walt Simonson a little bit, maybe. Not sure.
I don't see.
Sad part is it does say that it's a black and white by Leo Durancha.
Durancha? I don't know.
I'm reading it's really small. But what makes me sad is it says it's a black and white. And I was just looking at that picture going, the color really carries that picture. Like whoever the colorist is did a great job on it. So now I'm sad that the book is a black and white. But I think it's Leo. It's small. I can't read it, Pat, but it's Leo Durancha, I think. Something like
Dorano.
Haven't heard of him, but it's a cool looking book.
Getting a Walt Simonson vibe from it. Yeah.
Totally see that, Jason.
Kind of reminded me of Red Star a little bit, that vibe. So
never read it. I've never read it.
Everybody wants to go out and buy that, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Pat and I agreed on that ad, so I'll just go right to Jared and say, bring us home. Which is your favorite ad?
Well, let's talk about those cards that were included inside there. They included 2 trading cards.
Mm-hmm,
all right.
Mm-hmm.
One was Aliens, good looking trading card. The other was a trading card for a character called Erotica and Starstruck Sex Droid. And I was just like, my. It's a good drawing. It's not like, for those of you who are listening and can't see it, it's a pretty girl in a helmet. It's not.
Hold the phones. That's not what I have. I've got Terminator.
Oh, you've got Terminator and Trekker.
Oh, cool.
Oh, so you got different ones just based off cards. Mixed them up. Okay. Well, the one that the copy I read had Erotica and Starstruck Sex Droid. And the drawing isn't like overtly sexy. It's a head and shoulders shot. But I couldn't help but think to myself, yeah, no one's getting away with making that today. So tip of the cap to you, Erotica and Starstruck Sex Droid. That's probably the last we ever saw of that character.
Yep, that's not going to make it to today's sensibilities.
But it was cool to see yours, Jason, with the Trekkers. You know, of course, immediately makes me think of Trekker Talk with Darren and Ruth.
Yeah.
And we've actually had Ron Randall on our channel before. I got to interview him for a Creator Spotlight episode. So that was neat just to see the Trekker pop up.
Yeah, I will say just a quick tip of the hat to Ron Randall. I think he's probably one of the most probably underappreciated artists out there. The man can, number one, he can draw very well. If anybody that's read Trekker will attest. But the thing that I really like about him is he comes in and he fills in for a lot of issues. And whatever he's working on, he can kind of adjust his style so it's not as jarring. It kind of matches the style a little bit of whoever the previous artist was before him, if that makes sense. He still has his own style, and you see that when he does Trekker, but the man just kind of can come in and fill in books just almost seamlessly, which is, kind of like an ace reliever in baseball, if you will. It's an underappreciated skill, I think.
You're on mute.
Yep, sorry about that. All right. So do you have a comment on this? Let us know. Email contact@longboxcrusade.com or comment on the Longbox Crusade Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram page. You can call us and leave a voicemail that we just might play on the show. Leave us a message at 707-532-5269. That's 707-532-LBOX. Boys,
pick up the phone.
Let's drive on. All right. Now it's time for the segment we call Way Back in Time. And I don't think it's way back. Come on, guys. 1991. That's not that far back, is it? But
it's relative. It depends on who you're talking to. Yeah.
All right. Well, we got a whole bunch of things right here. So let's just kind of go around the horn and folks can kind of pick one that jumps out to them. These are events that occurred on May 1991. And again, we'll start with our guest, Jason Lady.
I actually thought you guys were just going to be reading these in sequence. I didn't know I had to comment on these. So.
No, you just pick one. You just pick whichever one jumps out at you.
I just grabbed a bunch of different things that happened. Mm-hmm. So
okay, the President George H.W. Bush taking Queen Elizabeth to an Oakland A's Baltimore Orioles game, that jumped out at me. My wife and I are baseball fans, and thought that was kind of cool that he took the Queen to a baseball game. I wonder how many she's been to. It's making me curious at this point if other presidents took her to baseball games over the years. But yeah, that jumps out at me.
I'm shocked that you didn't take the May 28th one.
Oh, I really should have. That would have been on brand. That would have been totally on brand if I had.
Okay. Yep.
We'll make everybody wonder what that was.
No, go ahead and say it. You get
that was mine. That's mine.
Okay, go ahead, Pat. Go ahead.
So on May 28th, it's the debut album of Jodeci is released. And later on in Billboard, it becomes Album of the Year from 1992. And it is Forever My Lady. Forever. I got it. I got the CD. So it's a good album. Jodeci. Love it.
CD's nuts.
That's a song I've never had sung to me before. With this last name, you get all the jokes. You get Dude Looks Like a Lady. You get Lady in Red. You get all of them. Lady by Styx. All of them. This is a new one to me. So
hey,
like this. All right. This one's going up for you, Jason. Forever, my lady.
Wherever you are out there, Jason.
Yeah, lady. You know. It's you that I want to.
All right, Pat's having too much fun. Jared, go ahead and pick one.
I'm going to take May 1st, actually. Outfielder Ricky Henderson steals the all-time Major League. Try that again. On May 1st, A's outfielder Ricky Henderson steals 939 bases, making him the all-time Major League record holder for stolen bases. He stole that record from Mr. Lou Brock. And Jason and I have something of a personal connection there because our grandmother worked at a elderly care facility in California for many years, and she took care of his mother. So we used to get a lot of cool Ricky Henderson swag because she'd get Ricky Henderson swag from him to give to us. So it was really cool. We were big Ricky Henderson fans due to that connection. So apparently on May 1st was the day he broke that record, 1991.
Man, and I'll never forget his speech because it was before today. Lou Brock was the greatest stolen base baseball player in the world. Today, Ricky Henderson is the greatest stolen baseball player in the world. That was it. It's like succinct. Yeah.
All
right. Well, I'm going to keep the baseball theme going because on May 1st, Texas Rangers starter Nolan Ryan pitches the Major League Baseball record of his 7th no-hitter, beating Toronto 3-0 at the age of 44. He is the oldest pitcher to ever throw a no-hitter. And I think it might have been Ricky Henderson he struck out on that date, which would be interesting. I'd have to double check that, but yeah. So lots of baseball stuff going on.
Yeah, it was.
That was.
I just love something. The third bullet. The final episode of Dallas was in 1991. I had no idea that show was on that long. Holy cow. I associate that with the early 80s at my grandma's house. I didn't know it was on that long.
I'm surprised no one took May 14th. The world's largest burrito.
I was looking at that
created.
One. There's a lot of stuff that went on.
That wasn't the date that Indiana Jones climbed down that.
That's what happened after that.
1,126 pounds of burrito. It's a lot of burrito.
It's a lot of burrito.
You need a lot of help to eat that. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about movies. We got the top 3 movies for May 1991. And I'll go ahead and let Jason Lady kick us off with the number 3 movie. Go ahead.
Sure. You just want me to, whichever movie jumps out at me to.
No, let's go with number 3 and then we'll go around.
Go ahead and present
okay.
number 2.
I see what you mean. Okay. Number 3 is Thelma and Louise, an action movie, grossed about $45 million, it looks like.
Is it an action movie?
Is it?
That's what it said.
I would put that in the drama category.
Is it going to make action film face off? I don't know. Any rate,
we get to like way down the line. We're running out of movies.
There's other Gina Davis movies that would qualify, right?
Oh, definitely.
Long Kiss Goodnight.
Long Kiss Goodnight is
a great one.
A great movie.
Yeah. It is.
Oh, I was about to say we may need to skip Pat to give Jared number 2.
I'll take number 1.
I think Jared will take number 1. Pat, go ahead and bring us in with number 2.
All right. Well, coming in at number 2 is the movie some people forget, but I always remember because I always want to know, what about Bob?
Is this some kind of radical new therapy?
Oh, Jared, it's one of our favorites. This one will make it to Action Film Face Off at some point in time. Go ahead, lay it out.
Coming in at number 1 is a thriller suspense film that made $152 million back in 1991. That's like $6 billion today. It was Backdraft, directed by Ron Howard and starring like everybody. And man, Backdraft to this day is one of my favorite films. It is so well made, and I mean, it's got Kurt Russell,
one of the Baldwins.
One of the Baldwins. It's got one of the Sutherlands. It's got a De Niro.
It's got Scott Glenn.
Scott Glenn.
Killing firefighters, bull.
But man, to this day, I will not even front the moment where Kurt Russell says, "Look at him. That's my brother." God damn it, man! That part gets me every time, man, right in the heart.
Yeah,
I cry a little bit.
Yeah, he's laying there mortally wounded. Oh man! Oh, sorry, spoiler alert.
All right, let's move on.
I haven't seen that one in ages.
Oh man, it hits me in the heart every time.
Shadow. All right. Let's talk about some music. What's the number 3 song, Jason?
I Like the Way, The Kissing Game by High Five is number 3.
I cannot remember that song. Pat, can you sing some for me?
You know, I didn't have time because of my crusade that I was on. I didn't have time to listen to this one, so I'm probably heard this one, but man,
I know I feel the same way. Like
it's High Five. It's like
I know it, but it's eluding me.
It's
I
a
feel
boy
like I
band.
should know it. Yeah, I should know that.
I Like the Way. I'll have to.
I don't know it either, but I know number 2. So why don't you lay that one on us there, Pat?
All right. Well, coming in at number 2 is a good 80s band, still rocking it in the early 90s with Roxette with the song Joyride.
Mm-hmm.
Come and join the Joyride.
Yeah,
one of my favorites. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
She's Got the Look is another one by them.
Yeah, that's
a good one.
Yeah.
Must Have Been Love, but it's over now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good ballad.
Mm-hmm.
Female lead singer whose name I can't recall, unfortunately, but rest in peace. She's no longer with us, but very talented.
And Jared, who does number 2 work for?
Number 2 works for number 1, which is Amy Grant singing Baby, Baby. I'm not going to keep singing because I'll do it so well we'll get flagged, but I know the song.
Don't get us flagged.
I know the song.
That Amy Grant impersonation is well known.
Man, that Amy Grant burst on the scene in 91, man. I think it was everywhere. You couldn't escape any Amy Grant in the early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
It's everywhere.
And, well, that brings us to the end of this part of the show. Got a comment or question? Send us an email at contact@longboxcrusade.com. You can also follow and leave a comment on Twitter @LongboxCrusade. We'll be right back. All right. Let's see what we got going on in the chats here. Oh, Courtney says Backdraft gave her nightmares.
By the whole part about the fire will look at you. The fire will eat and it will sleep and whatever else he said, and it will look at you. That creeped me out.
Oh, man, yeah. Donald Sutherland was creepy in that movie.
He's creepy in every movie. Just about. It's kind of his natural.
Now Elvis says Dallas did 356 episodes. I bet Pat's done twice that many. Mm-hmm.
Probably. I don't know. Probably. We've done a lot.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Max Traver wants Thelma and Louise versus Harold and Maude. All right. It's going to be a showdown. All right. Welcome back from the break. Now let's get to the feedback part of the show where we share your comments, emails, questions, likes, and shares in a segment called Crusader Comments. We are thrilled to kick off these comments with special shout-outs to our Crusaders Club members. These are the fine folks that have joined our crusade. They enjoy early access to special Longbox episodes, voting to help determine show content, and so much more. So these are the folks reaping the benefits and giving some much appreciated support to the show. And we just usually go round robin here, starting with you, Jason, and then we'll just go around the horn.
Sure. We start with Angelica Wolf.
Auburn Elvis live in the chat.
Bill Beer.
Blast it or stash it.
Braxton Underwood.
Captain Entropy.
Here's to you, Clinton Robinson.
Dave Collins, Battle Wagon.
Gerald Green.
Another Jason Keene. That makes 3.
It's a hat trick of Jasons today. Jeremy L.
Jim Jarman. I hope you like Jim Jarman too.
Jazzy Joe Thomas.
John Watson.
Josh Strickland.
Candace Ward.
Kathy Bright.
Mark Ross.
Monstrous Mark Hatherley.
Maxwell Traver, also in the chat.
Michael Wagner.
Miranda W.
P.D. Devons.
Sorry, screen froze. Paul Hicks.
Rick of Jeff and Rick present
Rob Captain Morgan.
Ross Michaud.
Ryan Daly.
Samantha Maney.
Sean Urbanski.
Spidey 67.
Steve Cronin.
Tim Price.
Tony Pennington.
And Toronto Cop. If we missed anyone on our list, we apologize. Please keep in mind that we record these episodes well in advance of release. So if you're a recent addition, we should be adding you soon. Still, no worries. Just let us know that we missed you by sending an email to contact@longboxcrusade.com and we will get it straightened out. As a reminder, you can become a Crusaders Club member by heading over to patreon.com and searching for Longbox Crusade. For as little as $1 a month, For as little as $1 a month, you'll get some access to the amazing world of the Crusaders Club. Pat, how much access do they get?
Well, Jason, I'm glad you asked, because it's just not some. Some people may think a veritable plethora of some. But no, let me tell you, you are going to get all the access. I mean, all the access. So much access. I got access to the left. I got access to the right. I got so much access. You know, some people may say you get a lot of access.
Would you say you have excess access?
I could. Yes,
I
do.
Can you assess the excess access?
All right. I think you all get the point. Come check it out. Don't have any extra scratch lying around, but still want to help us out here at LBC headquarters? Please take a moment to write a review on iTunes for this podcast. Even if you just want to keep it short with just star ratings, it helps raise the profile of the show, and we will share your review on the next show. All right. Nothing in iTunes, nothing in email. Okay. Now let's move into some social media likes, shares, and retweets from episode 32, which was Battle Chasers #1 from April 1998. We'll just start up the rotation again. Go ahead, Jason.
All right. We start off with Aaron Head Moss.
Clinton Robinson.
Dadu Toby? Is that Dadu Toby?
I guess.
Toby.
That you, Toby? That's what we're gonna go with. That you, Toby?
Works for me. Days of High Adventure podcast.
Fan Film Fridays podcast.
Gene Hendricks.
Glenn Peterman.
James.
Ken Solo.
Paul Bernard.
Barant.
Paul Barant.
Rick Heineken.
Roundhouse Ruth Sutherland.
Sean Jackson.
It's just Sean, if you're nasty. Oh, it's my turn.
You're too busy making the joke.
No, I'm too busy. I'm like, oh, that was a good one.
You got to make bits, but also keep your place in line.
That's a good one. I'm so proud of that one, too. They're like, nobody did it. I'm like, I got it. Ooh, it's my opening. It's all mine. Oh, all right. The Tomb of Reckoning.
I think it's a tome. I think that's a tome of reckoning.
Oh, I think, you know what?
No, the tome is what you get on a phone. It's like you get the dial tome.
That's a tone.
Tome.
This is like a book.
Oh.
Like a dusty tome, a weighty tome. Yeah.
You want to do it again and do it right, Pat?
You're on mute now. Now he's on mute. We got nothing from Pat.
What is happening here?
I don't know. All right, here we go. The Tome of Reckoning.
Tim Price, come on down.
Unpacking the power of the Power Pack, and the Power Pack don't stop.
And you can call us and leave a voicemail that we just might play on the show. Leave us a message at 707-532-5269. That's 707-532-LBOX. One last time, fellas.
Pick up the phone.
Thanks to everyone for the likes, shares, follows, and comments. We appreciate your friendship and help in spreading the word about this podcast. And that's the show. Be sure to check out the website longboxcrusade.com, where posts will be made for journaling this crusade. I would like to thank Jason Lady, Jared, myself, got to thank myself, and Pat for joining me on this episode. Before we go, let's find out where the listeners can find us on the internet. Jason, where can they find you?
Sure. I am the author of now 3 books for middle grade readers. The latest one is coming out in August 18th. It's called Time Problems. The 2 previous books are Monster Problems and Super Problems. You can learn more about me and my books at www.jasonrlady.com. I'm on Twitter as Jason R. Lady. I'm on Facebook as Jason R. Lady Author. I'm on Instagram as Jason R. Lady Author. These books are about kids who are in a series of books called the Magic Pen Adventures. Each one stars a different kid that gets a magic pen that brings to life everything they draw. And shenanigans and wacky happenings ensue after that. So if you have kids that are in the middle grade age or you're a kid at heart, please check my books out.
Thank you, Jason. And I'm kicking myself because I'm finishing up the show and I never said ladies first the whole time. I've let you go.
My
never said ladies first the whole time.
And I was first for all those things.
All those
yeah.
things.
You missed an opportunity. Yeah.
Oh, man.
That was
Take it
right
from the
there.
top. Let's start over. Let's take it back to the top.
We're going to just say it. We'll edit it in. Yeah.
You can
Is that
just
okay,
call
Matt?
him. You can just call him lady if you're nasty.
It didn't work the second
Oh,
Yeah, it's too. You're wearing it too thin. You're chewing this gum too long. The flavor's gone. Jared, where can they find you?
On August 18th, I got a book coming out called Time Problems. I have 2 other books. One's called Monster Problems. One's called Super Problems. I used that same bit when we recorded with Jason on another show, so I wanted to bring it back. Anyways, of course, I am.
Your bits are funny, but when I try to bring something back, bits and bits,
and
no.
I'm trying to do a show here, Pat. All right, for reals though, I am at Yard Sale Artist, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. It is all at Yard Sale Artist. Of course, you can check out my wares at www.theyardsaleartist.com. You know, we talked a lot about Indiana Jones today, so if you need an Indiana Jones or a Harrison Ford as Han Solo book page sketch, those are available on my website, www.theyardsaleartist.com.
Looks good.
Those are cool. Very cool.
Really good.
Yeah.
Pat, where can they find you?
Hang on before you go, Pat. And people need to know that in the behind the scenes and StreamYard, you know, you have all the pictures and they're listed with a label. And I called that one Indie Pimp because I knew I was going to pimp myself.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
I know that won't make the cut because
stuff, though.
podcast listeners, that will make no sense to them whatsoever. But
Make
Indie Pimp.
Indie Pimp. Pick up the pin.
I'll just see, like, instead of the fedora, he's got like that pimp hat, you know.
Feather coming out of it.
Yeah, and he's a plume, like a big feather plume coming out.
Yeah,
Fur trench coat instead of a leather jacket. Yeah.
I want that.
Yeah.
It'd be like, you know, Pimp Destro, but it'd be Indie Pimp.
But with Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
The Indie Superfly crossover.
Right.
We didn't know that we needed yet.
Indiana Jones.
We're just talking about Indie.
Yeah. I can dig it.
Oh,
He
man.
literally does.
Right.
I derailed us, but now I'm going to derail us even more because I want our people who are watching live to realize that we first started making Longbox episodes. It was very common for them to be about 3 hours of raw recording. We're only at 90 minutes. Right?
Yeah, this is us better.
We are tightened up.
Remember that 5 hour?
You were all bearing witness. This is not me. I get blamed all the time.
Jason was wired tight today, man. We ruined it. I'm sorry, Pat. Please tell us where people can find you on the internet. Those of you watching, please give us a like and a subscribe while you're at it. Pat, go.
Well, Jared, I'm glad you asked. You can find me on the Twitter at Christatos01.
And you can find me at Weasel Skull on Twitter and at Jason Albrick on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to interact with us via live chat and be entered to win some free stuff on our live raffles, join us on our next episode of Doing It Live Stream over on YouTube. We do them on the second Sunday of every month, and we always start at 3:30 p.m. Central Time. You can get signed up for that by looking up Longbox Crusade on YouTube. Please subscribe to our channel and click the bell so you'll get reminder notifications for when we go live. Thank you for listening, and we hope that you've enjoyed this episode of Longbox Crusade. Got a comment or a question? Email us at contact@longboxcrusade.com or leave a comment on the Longbox Crusade Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter page at Longbox Crusade. Until next time, take care, and please join us for the next episode as we continue on the crusade to read them all.
Ooh, who wants to do giveaways? Who wants to do giveaways?
I'm giving shows back to you, Jared. You're the fun guy. Let's give out some prizes.
I see we got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people in our chat, and we only have 1 like. I need y'all to go ahead and click like on that, by the way.
Hit it.
All right, but we got 7 people in our chat right now. We got Auburn Elvis, Aaron Moss, Kathy, Max Traver, Michelle Moss, Chola, and Courtney.
Hey, before you get going, Courtney did ask a question. I think we should pose it here. She wants an update on Heroes Con. So who's going? Who's not?
I know Pat and I are going because I'm picking them up at the airport. Pat and I will be at Heroes Con. Delvin will be at Heroes Con.
I will not be at Heroes Con. I had to make the choice between having a fun time at Heroes Con or having a toilet that flushed and replacing my sewer line. So,
well, speaking about Indiana Jones, you chose poorly.
I don't know. I'm like,
you don't want to be like Indy on that geyser. You could be Indy on the geyser blowing up.
You're on the verge of that.
For the geyser, so he saw.
Hang on, I think I still have the picture in the. There we go. There's Jason.
That was my toilet over Christmas.
Jason, we've had to have that done at our house, so I feel your pain. Within 1 year of living here.
So sorry, Courtney. I'm going to be out, but it looks like you'll get 3/4 of the crew there.
Is Courtney going?
Be cool to see her there.
I don't know. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Jason, lady, would you please pick a number between 1 and 7, please?
Sure. 6.
2, 3, 4, 5. Did the usual where I just put it in a random spot. All right. So in the chat, we have Max Traver. I don't know if Max is still in the chat or not, but Max just won the raffle for this one. Max, if you're in the chat, let me know because that's going to directly affect what you get. If he's gone, then I'll pick something from the stack for him. But I was going to do that thing where he could kind of tell us what his favorite show is on Longbox Crusade Network, and I was going to tailor his gift to. Oh, he's in the chat. All right, Max. So let us know what your favorite show on the network is, and I'll try to tailor your gift to that show. So just let us know. I see you in the chat.
It's okay if it's past poll list.
It's perfectly fine if it's past poll list. Pat's pull list.
It's past poll list. It's past poll.
All right. Now, one of the benefits of being let me change the banner at the bottom. So we're talking about Crusaders Club. One of the benefits of being a Crusaders Club member for the low price of $1 a month is you get entered into a raffle on these live shows that we do, and you don't have to be present to win. So let me pull up our Patreon list. Someone vamp for time. There, it's logging in. Nope, it's logging in slowly. So meanwhile, has Max weighed in on what his favorite show is yet?
You use the list in the... Yes, he did, Jared.
What was it?
Crusader Chronicles.
Oh, Crusader Chronicles, where we talk a lot about Spider-Man. Is a common fixture.
And you poo-poo on X-Men.
That's bad.
Let's see here. Looking at the stuff. All right, so my Spider-Man, I did have a little Spider-Man thing. We've got Spider-Man 2 on DVD. So we're taking you all the way back to the early 2000s. Max, we're going to mail you that Spider-Man 2. It's the 2-disc version. Look, it's got
great movie.
Dr. Octopus on the hand on Spider-Man on the bonus disc. So
that's a good one.
Nice version. I know you can find it streaming. But you could hang it on your wall. You could
what
set
kind of
drink on it.
What kind of disc is that again?
A DVD, Pat.
Oh, a DVD nuts.
There you go.
Not a CD-ROM. Yeah.
Got 2 DVDs nuts.
Oh man, I haven't logged in a while. There's a lot of stuff on our Patreon I haven't looked at yet. All right, patrons. Here we go. We currently are rocking, as my computer thinks things through. It's a little slow today, folks. 34? We have 34 patrons? Does that right? Sound right to you, Pat?
I thought
something like that.
Well, I can look and count them on the.
Not a little bit more than that, but
no, we currently have 34 patrons. So does that mean somebody left? We need somebody out there to step up. We need somebody out there to step up.
Don't forget, you get all the access. Yep. Somebody left us. I see who it was. I will not publicly chase them off the video. Hey, we understand. People have to come. People have to go. That's perfectly fine. That just means we have an open slot for anybody out there that wants to get on our Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/Longbox Crusade. Get some of that sweet bonus content. All right. So how many did I say? 34?
34.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let me get into our relationship manager page. I'm like, you know how you click on something and the page is still loading and it moves down. So now you've clicked on the wrong thing.
Yep.
Doing that a lot right now. Okay.
One of the joys of being on the internet.
All right. I got my cursor now placed at a random spot. So Jason, lady, 1 through 34, please, sir.
27.
27. Going to make me count a whole bunch. All right.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
I can change it. Change it to 1.
I'm fast at this. All right, and Mr. Spidey 67.
Ooh.
So the Spider-Man DVD that's going to Max Traver.
That's irony.
It is.
That really is, yeah.
And Spidey 67
doesn't win.
I know him. He's a pretty big fan of action film Face Off. So, because Jason, you remember what he was on with us when we covered the Warriors.
Oh yeah, okay.
Do you remember what Warriors went up against?
I don't.
I haven't listened to that one.
But you know what?
I've been meaning to.
He may already own it since he was such a fan, but now he'll own a copy from us. So I'm going to send him DVD Warriors for Spidey 67. Just a little something from us.
Awesome.
What are you sending him?
The Warriors.
On what?
Come out
DVD pack.
Oh, DVD nuts.
There you go. All right. So Max is going to get Spider-Man. I'm going to send Warriors to Spidey 67 since he was our guest for that episode. Like I say, he probably has a nicer copy of it, but hey, it'll be from us to commemorate our time together. And that's that. I'm done with the giveaways.
Cool.
All right. Bye.
See everybody. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks everybody for being here. Don't forget to smash that subscribe, that like button, and on the other YouTube videos that we're doing that are coming out.
We're putting out a lot of YouTube stuff.
Please help us spread the word.
You know what? If you're still here, believe it or not, we have on the cusp of releasing some Longbox Crusade fitness workout videos for normal people like us. So you can start working out with it. I've already recorded.
You too can have a body like mine. Look at this.
You can have an LBC body like us. I've already recorded one. So, yeah. All right. Oh, Auburn Elvis with the great memory. It went up against Tiger Claws. Remember that?
Oh, there you go.
I think it went up against Tiger Claws 2. I think it was part 2. It went up against.
I don't know Tiger Claws. I've never heard of it.
Cynthia Rothrock.
And
Bolo Young.
Oh, you know it's good then. It's got to be.
That's how you know it's quality. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great. I enjoyed it.
I need to go find this and we'll catch up.
Yeah, definitely check out our YouTube because we have stuff coming out on YouTube that's not even in our podcast feed. Yeah, lots. We're really trying to build our YouTube. So
got another nostalgia talk coming up pretty soon too.
Yep. For those of you who enjoyed my discussion on my nostalgia discussion around KB toys, that video did really well. Thanks for all the support for everybody who watched that. Really appreciate that. I've done another one, and Pat scheduled it. I don't remember when it's coming out. Soon, though.
20, maybe.
20-something.
20-something.
I had to call Jared after listening to that nostalgia talk, just because I remember that time, and I was like, "How is that even a decision? A Storm Shadow or a
ninja set?
A ninja set, right?
Come on."
Jason, did you? I see you listened to it too. Jason Lady knew it was up.
I did, yeah. I did listen to it, yeah. Brought back memories. I remember all those Atari games being on uber discount, like $1 a game, and I had Atari, and all the other kids had Nintendos at the time. So my parents went in and just cleaned house, like bought everything.
Yeah, I think I mentioned I distinctly remember seeing ET for 50 cents.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Brand new sealed. They just had copies.
Still overpriced, right? To come down more if you're going to buy it. Oh, good times at KB though. That was a wonderful episode that you did.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. Thanks. I'm trying to do more of those. But I just kind of wait till the moment hits me when something just brings back a flood of memories. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do an episode around that. So our next one's coming out soon.
Excellent.
If you have fond memories of 1989, there's the hint I will give to you.
So I graduated high school.
All right. Anything else? Any secret behind the scenes for all the people who stayed late?
I don't know. I'm thinking I'll probably do, and I finished it on the Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis because I did. I have to figure out how it ended, so I read the.
It's funny. Series. We talked about how cover price was $2.50, and we were like, "Gosh, back in the day it was $1." And then I told you how Joanna went and bought it for Jordan. Like she paid more than $2.50 a book. I'll tell you that for nothing to buy the set.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah, the set. I think she got the set for $15 or something like that at Mile High.
Didn't know those were a commodity. That's really cool, though.
I mean, they're not super expensive, but they're getting more than cover.
Yeah. They're not in the quarter bin. Yeah, we'll put it.
No, they're not.
Yeah, those Dave Dorman.
You might be able to find them in some quarter bins, but if you want to go buy a set at Mile High, so she bought them so Jordan could get those signed.
I actually bought because I think I got issue 3 when we went to back when we were going to the Book Nook there,
right.
In Atlanta, and so I'd found that one because I as I read it, I was like, I had this one. I remember definitely.
It's pretty bad memories,
yeah. But I never had the whole set till now. I paid about $10 for it, I think, at the comic book store.
We got a question in the chat from Auburn Elvis says, when does Crusade taping start? It starts immediately after the last Crusade. So we've already recorded.
We clean up the confetti for New Year's and then we start recording.
We've already done 5, I think.
5.
We do basically 1 every month. And we legit usually do our first recording for the new Crusade in January of that year. One year we did it literally the weekend. Remember
the one with Laurel?
Yeah. The one with Laurel because she had some health issues. We wanted to work around those. So that worked out really well. And I think she's doing good. So that's good.
Yep. It's an all-year adventure.
Yeah.
She hasn't asked for any time off or anything from.
No, she hasn't. She hasn't put in for any medical leave.
No shared leave. No shared leave request.
No FMLA. No.
No.
But yeah, that was funny because Crusade was we literally just wrapped up listening to it on the 25th. And I think we recorded with her. Jason, I think you were still at my house.
So I recorded
the 27th or something. We recorded the first Crusademas of the next year.
Yeah, because that's what because you use the term I'm your holiday probe or something.
The Christmas probe.
Christmas probe. Are you sure you want to use?
He was really concerned about the term Christmas probe. This is all the bang for your buck you get for staying late, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. We've had some interesting recording times, and we'll be scrambling at the end like we are every year to get it all.
Yeah, we do that so we can get ahead, so they'll all be edited, so Pat doesn't have to scramble to edit them at the end of the year. But somehow he always ends up scrambling.
I'm working on that.
But hey, we've got some extra help with. For those of you who don't know, you see her in the chat. You know her. You love her. It is Captivating Kathy. Bright, the MVP, has been an excellent editor. She's figured out how to fully edit podcasts now. She is much willing to help. So that will probably come into play to help alleviate Pat's burden. But because behind the scenes, Pat edits Longbox Crusades. He edits Chronicles. He edits Saturday Matinee Theater. With a little help from
Delvin did.
Delvin cleans.
He cleans it.
Oh, okay.
But Pat does the final edit. So I say a little help from Delvin, and Jason does the cleaning on the Crusademus episodes. So for those of you who don't know, cleaning basically means getting rid of the ums and the uhs and our sidetrack discussions and all that, like just getting rid of all the
straighten things up. Yeah.
And then Pat comes in and does the final edit, doing effects work and all that.
Puts in the cool music and the tunes and the.
I'm doing
sound effects.
What am I doing?
Yeah.
I do G.I. Joe. I do Pop Culture Podcast. I do the edits for On Her Majesty's Secret Podcast over on that channel for James Bond. There's something else I do that I can't remember right now, Pat. There's another show on this network that I do. It's not coming.
I don't know. We got a lot.
Action Film Face Off.
Face Off. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are busy. This is a lot of
work.
I'm picking that up.
We do a lot of work by the scene.
LBC Crew Show is me.
Yeah. Pat makes the little LBC Crew shows. So that's kind of behind the scenes of who does what. So Jason and Delvin just haven't I was about to say haven't learned to fully edit, but I think the phrasing would be have successfully avoided learning how to fully edit. So they do a little bit of cleanup help, like I said, on Crusademus and SMP.
5 years now I've avoided it.
Meanwhile, Kathy taught herself how to do it in like 4 days.
Good for you, Kathy. Good for you. Talent doesn't edit, man.
So because we have LBC Irregulars, our Jeremy Brett Sherlock Holmes show, and Kathy was taking the reins over on that, and so she's got that show, and we've got one more coming out that features our old host, Mr. Gene Hendricks, and from then on it'll be Kathy's, and we've already recorded her first one. So that's what's going on behind the scenes.
Cool.
Courtney, I'm waiting to see what comes in through that door for Jared's dinner. She's asking what's for dinner.
Oh, Johanna said if I opened the door, she'd send it in. So if you want,
let's see.
I don't know. I think they've gone on to
Johanna, food now.
Yeah, that'd go over well, I'm sure.
Oh, it's literally sitting outside the door. Here we go.
There's a lot of stinky teenagers in the house.
All right.
The world's largest burrito.
1,000-pound burrito. Let's see what we got.
This is the kind of service we get.
Looks like I got some steak and some fried cabbage. Steaks and cabbage. That's what I got.
Eggs and cabbage.
Yum.
Well, with that, I'm leaving.
All right.
Gotta go eat my dinner too.
Yeah.
Let's say goodbye to the listeners that have stuck around and say thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, where's the in comment?
Broadcast. See you guys.
Yeah, where's the in broadcast? It's not here. It's not where this one is. There it is. Bye. Oh, now I got to hit it again.